Hello, welcome to our wine tasting. No, it's not a wine tasting. It's a beer tasting. So the idea is we have 5 Asian beers, lagers, and we're gonna try them and see which one is the best one. Try to analyze them. And we have done some wine tastings before. Some of us. We have done. One more time. Take 2. But the thing is, yeah. Dude, it sounds. Okay, so basically, so hi again. So nervous! I feel like everybody's watching me from every angle. Okay, so welcome to the wine beer taste. Welcome to a beer tasting. So what we're gonna do now is gonna try 5 blind testing of 5 Asian beers to see if we like them, which is the best one, and what we get from them. So we have 3 people here. So we have me, Carl,
Rita,
and Nikolai.
And we're going to try our best in a very not professional way to taste them in order. So let's start with the first beer. Drink up your water, so it's not diluted, and then we'll see. And then, oops, me too. I'm a pro, as you might be able to tell. Okay. Yeah. So first thing, when we do a wine tasting normally, and of course, as a beer tasting, you see the color because that could give you clues about what kind of beer it is. So basically, beer is you have the malt, which is sometimes more or less toasted, and the more toasted it is, the darker tends the color to be. So, for example, a stout, it's super dark, the Guinness kind of type, and a kind of Asian lager sometimes is very very pale. This one I would say is like not as pale as I would think from a typical Asian beer, but it's still quite pale. So you can see, you can write down number 1 here. So color, yellowish, and yeah, quite pale.
It is very pale.
Yeah, I guess it's quite pale. And also the foam. I don't really understand the importance of the foam, but apparently it's important. So
okay, sure.
And I guess it depends on how you pour it as well, right?
Well, the foam is good if you just don't have too much of it, I think.
Yeah.
Like if it's there when you drink it and it hits your lips, it's great.
Okay.
Part of the experience.
So if you, but they have more foam. But also this says something about the bubbles. I don't really understand why that's important either. Okay, so let's categories. So let's write down color, and then foam, like foaminess, and then we can take notes of the opacity, so transparency of it, and then.
Does that isn't that color?
No, but the opacity. I mean, it could be more.
Oh right, okay. You
Transparent.
can make it. Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah. I mean, a transparent black would become a grey, I guess.
Okay.
But you can have a 100% transparent pink, or you can have a 50% transparent. Smell. It doesn't have this.
Citrix, no?
It's I don't know, more refreshing than like a typical. Or maybe I'm used to like smelling like old beer glasses, and then they smell like a little bit strange somehow. Yeah, but I would say also citric. So Rita, did you like the beer?
So.
So?
Not so much. And
So-
you?
It's fine. It's not. I don't feel like it's very special. It's just
Quite.
it's not a very
bland.
special taste. It's a great common beer.
Yeah.
So I would say it airs on the like a little bit bland, like a little bit flavorless.
Yeah.
In comparison, so it could be probably pretty nice in like if it's super hot, or if you eat some kind of spicy food, you want something refreshing, kind of like a Corona style, a little bit bland. One other thing that is you have the lupulo. It's called hops. And that's also one thing that you can talk. The hops can have. That's what we try really good beers. They say, okay, this is the hops style because that really changed the influence.
Oh, okay.
But in a lager, it tends to not be so very hoppy. So the temperature some does not even mention the hops. So if you were to notice some more flowery kind of herbal things, that's probably a more hoppier beer. I would say this one doesn't have any, not very strong hoppy flavor. I think that I tried the Indian beer. Is it the Cobra we have in the Indian restaurant?
Yes.
I think that one is unusually hoppy for being an Asian beer. I mean, it's not super hoppy, but it's just for being Asian, it's more hoppy. Well, and then so did we like it or no? More or less.
More or less.
Okay, let's do 1 to 5.
But let's compare with the rest.
I think it's very easy to drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an easy beer.
Mm.
Let me get something here. Let's see. So what we did yesterday in the wine tasting, let's clear out the glasses. So we take a little bit of water here, clean it out, for it not to influence the next one. And we also have some breadsticks. Maybe that could be good too. Let's see.
Sure. This is a very prepared beer tasting.
Here we
And
go.
you totally bought that in IKEA, didn't you?
This one.
Yeah.
Did
Hay
we?
otro.
Oh, damn, you didn't.
I think that was a gift Rita bought for me.
Who? What?
This
Ah,
one.
yes.
No, because it's also more robust. It's just a very common design then.
Let's see. Alright, let's go for number 2.
Don't put so much on.
Okay. Alright,
Very foamy.
let's see. 3 of 5. Let's see, number 2. So I would say this is more maltier, like stronger malt color, like a bit darker.
Sure.
But still quite light, so I would say 1, 2, 5, I would say 3. The thing is that with the color is so relative, you know, to what you compare it to. For example, you could say
Sure.
that well, it's dark in comparison to another lager, or it's dark in comparison to a stout, you know, the black ones, you know. Same thing with the red wines, you know, they're not generally sweet, but they could be a little bit sweeter than other red wine. So in scale 1 to 5, it's probably at least a 1 or 2, but for being a red, it could be like a 5, you know.
Sure.
So.
It's got a way stronger taste.
Yeah.
And smell as well, right?
Yeah.
It's something there.
It's also a lot more foamy. So
I would say there's a little bit like yeast smell, so like a champagne. So that so also yeast is quite important. It's not normally like as important as the hops. It doesn't influence the flavor so much, but it's still like some people are like, I like that kind of yeast. And I saw this TV show where they were making Dogfish Head. They were found this 4,000 old recipe for making beer, and with honey and stuff like that.
Sure.
And then they actually went to the pyramids to collect yeast from the actual site, because you know yeast is a lot of the yeast cannot handle alcohol, but they have to have a specific resistant for them to make sugar to alcohol.
Okay.
So they found one that was not super potent, but potent enough, so the beer was like 3-4% only.
okay.
So I was like, oh cool. I want to go there as well, like taking local like Madrid yeast or something like that and make your own beer. That would be quite cool. Yeah, this one. More smoke. More. It's like earthier as well, right? I would say. Yeah.
Mm.
That's a good way to describe it, I think.
Smoke, maybe not smoke. Okay, I think this one, yeah, the malt, maybe more malt, or maybe just, I don't know, somehow more malt infused flavor. Do you guys like it or not?
Yes,
No, not really.
No.
I like it.
I think it's not as fresh as the other one, I would say, but
I prefer this one than the previous one.
maybe in the winter it would be kind of nice, you know. It's not really a summer. So so we are in Madrid now, and it's hot, finally. So
Well, you have great air conditioning in here, so
here.
you don't?
No.
Oh, it's cold in here.
We don't have
Cold,
any air
but
conditioning.
chilly.
We have like one, but it's not.
We don't have it on.
It's not.
Well, you have a
warm.
great climate in here then.
Yeah, it's okay. It's good. And one thing that's good is that this can get a little bit hot, but it's quite hot too.
I think because I opened the window
Ah.
from the room, so we have some fresh air.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
This one also has more of an aftertaste.
Yeah.
It sticks around longer.
Yeah, I agree. Aftertaste. All right. So you did not like it? I thought it was like.
I like it.
Yeah, I would say nice. It's not easy to drink. It's like more difficult to drink than another one.
Sure.
Other one. But I think it was nice in its own way. I think like every beer has like its time, except lambic beers. You know the fruit beers. Oh, I don't like that.
You don't like that? Do you like the so this is completely different, but do you like the what's it called? The very Spanish thing, the Tinto de Verano thing?
No, it was fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you like it?
Oh yeah, it's good. It's
Yeah.
good. It's very easy.
Yeah.
Very
The
easy.
Clara. You like Clara?
What's that?
It's beer with lemon.
Oh yeah.
Lemonade.
No, it's beer with lemon.
Lemonade. It's not
No,
pure.
lemonade is.
Yeah, but it's soft.
Depends if it's Fanta or.
Sorry.
There are two.
Yeah, but no, but if you put like pure lemon, then it would be super acidic. So it's lemonade. So lemonade is with more water and sugar, so it's more, so not so tart, you know. All right, so
But
let's
he knew what you meant.
let's see. So now 3, 4. Okay, so let's So put scores 1 to 5 for each beer.
Okay.
I think I will put this one 3-2. 3 points. Numéro 2, 3 points.
You're learning Swedish?
Hmm? Oh, I forgot in Swedish
Okay.
the numbers. I know the weekdays, I think.
So try it.
Monday,
Thank you very
Tuesday.
much.
No.
Monday, Tuesday, Tuesday.
No.
That's close though.
No, Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Tuesday. Fredag, lördag, söndag.
Lördag, söndag.
Lördag, söndag.
Very good.
Yeah.
So I just found out that I can do the weekdays in Swedish.
Yeah, but it's Tirsta, right? That's the
Yeah, Tisdag.
Yeah, Tirsta.
What's it in Swedish?
It's almost without the R. So Tirsta.
Tisdag.
No.
You madman.
And yeah.
This is not very smelly.
No.
Interesting.
But I don't know. I think it's like a little bit sweeter than the other ones. So basically the yeast eats the sugar and then shits out alcohol.
Sure.
So what happens is sometimes that when a beer is too sweet is that they might have had a temperature that it's makes it the yeast not active. So they don't eat the sugar to convert it into alcohol. So then like the fermentation process is not happening as it's supposed to. But some beers just taste a little bit sweeter. I mean, some people add sugar even, you know.
But now you're saying like it's supposed to, but is that just the way they make the beer?
I mean, the thing is, that's with temperature, you know, because some yeast it's a natural thing. It's a natural process. So some yeast you should have optimal temperature, but some, you know, what happens if the power goes out and then all of a sudden the temperature drops?
Sure.
Like you could kill yeast. So that could happen in a brewery place.
Okay.
So stuff like that. So that's why now they have like and also during different phases they should have different temperatures. I never made beer myself. I'm quite interested, but I think that it's supposed to be like the maceration should be
that is
70%.
actually a thing you do in Denmark when you go to like upper secondary school and you It's a very common thing in the biology course.
Really?
Creating beer.
Did you do it in school?
I didn't do it because
Yeah.
my line was media, but it's very common
It's fucking
when you
awesome.
go to upper secondary school. So that's cool.
Well, one thing that's interesting with that is that all Swedish people used to go to Denmark to buy beer because the age was lower. I think you guys are 15. Yeah.
16.
16, and we have like 20.
You do?
Yeah, I mean you can go to a bar if you're 18, some
Right.
bars, but yeah, to the actual store to buy beer you have to be 20. And,
Okay, that's 16 in Denmark.
yeah, so people when they're like 16 to 20, they go to Denmark, and it's cheaper as well. But now people go to Germany.
Yeah, we do as well.
Yeah. So, but it used to be. I remember it was super strange. I went with my mother to buy alcohol in Denmark. I think I was 17. That's also not so strange because a lot of people, they like for example my parents, they bought alcohol for me, but like in a responsible way. You know, they bought like 3 beers or something.
Sure.
And I remember going to her. So first we went to was it Copenhagen or was it Skagen maybe, I don't know. And we were being chased by a drunk Danish person. So it's like, oh, welcome to Denmark. And then so we had to we went to a restaurant and and he came in the restaurant, but the guards were like stopping. I remember it was like a big bridge. And he was chasing us off the bridge, and I was just like, ooh. Let's, but it was quite slow because he was so drunk.
Sure.
So and then we went to buy some beers. He said, yeah, you could buy like a few beers.
But that was like a trip to Denmark, right?
Yeah, like a little bit enjoy, but also to buy beers. And stuff.
Okay, because if she was there to buy beer with you, why didn't you just buy beer in Sweden?
Yeah.
Because it's cheaper, much cheaper.
You went to Copenhagen to buy beer?
Maybe it was not
That's
Copenhagen.
a terrible idea.
Maybe. I think it was not because I think we took the ferry.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it was not used to buy beer. I think I was like, it was 14 years ago or something. But also I remember, so I took some beers. There was 7.8. There was elephant beers.
Yeah.
They're like 7.8
in the big can. Or-
Yeah, I think so. So they are 7.8, I think. So strong beer. And my mother said, no, you cannot buy that because she knew what that was. And then I chose another beer, which was 10.8.
And she didn't know.
Because you had like a different name, you know.
Sneaky.
Yeah. And we also bought some raspberry beer that tastes like shit. Oh,
You bought raspberry beer.
yeah, something like that, or blackberry.
Maybe for your mother.
No.
For you?
I remember drinking it, and I remember it tastes like shit.
Well, but so how old were you when you had beer the first time?
14 maybe.
Yeah, did you like it?
I don't remember.
Because I have a theory. No one likes beer the first time they have it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Actually, no, I didn't. I like cider. But
Yeah. Well, cider's easy.
Yeah.
But also, no one likes coffee either. Everyone thinks coffee smells great, but you have to get used to the taste.
Yeah, could be. And also smoking. I mean, but I liked smoking actually the first time. But I don't smoke.
I will tell you something. My best quality, I have never ever tried smoking.
Good for you.
Oh, very nice.
That's my best thing.
It's not bad. Actually, I remember the day when I started liking beer.
Sure.
And because I was playing, I'm from a small city in Sweden, and I was playing football, and you know, in the football team it gets kind of like this masculine thing, you know, and I remember I was drinking cider, and also like these cocktails, you know, like girly cocktails, and they were just, like you're a pussy, why do you drink like that? But then I remember I was in Australia at a barbecue, or in a rooftop barbecue, and I was just like, no, I really feel like having a beer. And I think I was 19. And that was like the moment when everything changed. And now I love beer.
Well, I never really drink beer. So
What?
yeah,
You never drink beer?
not all with you.
Oh, really? I'm bad at this. So what did we say? Okay, actually I didn't write any notes at all. Let's see. So, yeah, slightly sweet. Sweet, not so flavorful.
Mm.
It's also quite nice beer.
Yeah. Nice to drink. But I would say a 2 or a 5. It's my.
I put 2.5.
Alright, let's go with the fourth one.
Hi.
Nikolai, are you
Thank
ready?
you very much. beer.
Now we have color going on here. So, let's see.
This is also the most colored one, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not the.
It's like orange.
Yeah.
So I heard that the process of making beer and whiskey is the same, kinda. I mean, not with distillation, but the
Sure.
beginning phases. I heard. I could be remembering it wrong, or I could be lied to. That's possible, but but I heard it's the same. And but they also have some kind of earth that they put. So that's why the earth in whiskey is so important. That's why only this kind of smokiness that comes from the earth.
Sure.
And I heard that in Japan, some of them actually import the earth from Scotland to Japan, and that's why Japanese they are like the only one that can make good whiskey, except
wow.
for the Scottish people and the Irish people.
That is cool. Well, you can. I just read somewhere that you can buy pieces of iceberg and they drag it around.
Iceberg?
Yeah, that story makes no sense because I
Pizza.
can't remember the details.
No,
Shit.
iceberg.
Yeah, you can buy like real life icebergs. So
Why?
they I don't know who does it, but it's funny. So they commission a ship to go get an iceberg and they just drag it all the way back, and they cut it up, and then you have ice.
I was thinking that that's a lot of ice you can get. I was thinking it would be cool to serve drinks. Maybe it wouldn't change anything, but this is like a polar ice cubes.
Yeah, that
Ah,
Yeah, okay, yeah, that would be cool. I was thinking about that, but
exactly that.
but then I would feel bad about the pollution that would have to
Yeah,
go on
sure,
for
sure,
you to transfer
sure.
it. So I wouldn't do it. But I heard that like the good bartenders, they boil the water before they freeze it, because that way it becomes like a perfect ice cube without any bubbles. So.
Oh, right.
So-
Is that also the transparent ice? Or?
Yeah, I think so. So that or distilled. Well, I guess you distill it when you boil it, right? So.
I don't think you should distill the water.
No, but for that, just for the ice cubes.
Okay. Have you ever had what they call in Danish? They call it dead water. Like so, it's like it's just H2O, H2O. There's nothing else. Not like no calcium or
Oh no.
whatever.
mm.
That tastes absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
It is so bad.
Oh yeah, actually I heard something about that. I also heard that they do a test when we do like a cleaning thing. So they people sign like water filters, and they put like some kind of device that kind of colors it somehow separates the irons or something that's in, or the metals, and then people are like, oh, this is disgusting, but it's supposed to be there, like all these kind of extra things, you know?
Right? Yeah,
So
it is.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so darker color for sure, that's the darkest one.
And the taste is lingering. The sticks around.
I think I know this one.
Are you cheating?
What?
Are you cheating?
No. But I think I went to this place actually. I think this is well, I'm not going to this. But I don't think the taste is. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit deeper, but it's not as deep as the color would suggest, you know. I think.
Right. It is deeper than the like the number 1 3,
Yeah.
but it's not like this is the darkest one we've had, right?
Yeah.
And it's not that deep in taste.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Okay. As deep in taste as color, which is this? So that's what we were saying yesterday. So yesterday we had a wine tasting with Italian wine versus Spanish wines, and normally the color of the wine could give you a hint of it's going to be like a heavier wine, more alcohol, more tannins. This is kind of mouth drying sensation.
Sure.
And on the color, while a lighter wine is more normally lighter in general, but there are some Italian wines that are much more heavier that fools you up. We had one of that yesterday. So it could be a hint, but it could also be totally.
But isn't it? It's usually a hint, right?
Yeah, pretty big hint, I would say. Even. I mean, I haven't had that. For example, I haven't had that many Italian wines. So for me yesterday, it was like, what the fuck is this? We had one that was just what was it again? It was like the.
Spanish. The first one.
No, but
The name.
no, the name was like something that was. Oh, yeah, so now we're mixing our beer tasting with wine info. Let's see. So let's